Okay, so my name is Necmettin Özkan. I'm from Turkey and I live in the beautiful city of Turkey, Istanbul. And I'm doing my PhD in Agile, in particular in Agile mindset. And so I'm dealing with this Scrum and Agile stuff for then 10 years, almost 10 years. So the thing is that I have some kind of experiences from the space where the Scrum is not so much comfortable. I mean, we use the Scrum in our bank in regulated environment at least, and at scale. So these are the things that you can, see the extreme points of Scrum. So which is good for me because I have learned a lot of things from, these kind of hearts and, experience, intense experiences. So today, I think we need to little bit think and go beyond the Scrum thinking, and we can uh, combine Scrum with other, agile methods or other best practices or good practices. So one of them is lean. So we will see why we need to improve Scrum because there are some challenging and pain points with Scrum. So we need to improve it because this is made by and created by humans like us. So humans are not perfect. So all the time we just transform, inherit our disabilities or our deficiencies to the, what we are creating. So this is normal. So it is a kind of thing, like a car or like a table. So like a TV. So which include any kind of, deficiencies possible. So we can just make this better by thinking beyond the Scrum and by thinking integrating it with other things that we can use. Okay, so why we need this? So unfortunately, like in the real life, we have methods of war in the Scrum and in Agile world, and which is not so good for us, for the practitioners and for the implementers. But this is good. This is very beneficial and very, a good way to get income and some kind of, economic interest for the creators and some of the evangelists of agile that may include maybe agile consultants. I don't know. I really hope that you are not one of them, but some of agile consultants wants to have this kind of method. So they just say that okay, you cannot use this method with another one. It's not true. You can use it, but they this kind of work because they like it. They really feed it. They foster it, and they need it. They need it for the benefit, not for the benefit of the practitioner for the organization. So the thing here is that so agile methods are designed as a monolithic, not modular, not designed to be reusable, incompatible to mix and match. So people are advised to use them in an exclusionary way. So which means that you cannot use one method with another one. So you need to check the all methods as a whole. So I think this is not true. This is good for the the sellers, but for the buyers is not a good way. So if you prefer to stay in what they say, which means a method prison, so like here, you can be in a method prison here. Okay, where's my lovely highlighter? You can choose one of them, right? Maybe you can be using this kind of train, release train, which is very deterministic, which is not agile, but you can use it. You are supposed to use it if you are using some kind of agile, particular agile methods. So you cannot go and take another practice from another one. I mean, you can do that, but if you believe in them, the sellers, you are not supposed to do that. So if you believe in, if you find yourself in a prison, in a middle prison, we can call this kind of agile teams zombie scrummer or zombie commoner or whatever it is. So the psychological part of it is something like that. Maybe you know that from the movie Shawshank Redemption, right? So there are some walls when we are inside this method prison, the walls of this method. And we see these walls, and these walls first seems funny, and at the first glance we hate them, then we get used to them. And after long enough, we get so and dependent on them. It's very interesting. So we can just feel like, we are different, but we are the same teams with different and colorful colors, right? Not more than that. So after a while, we can feel like Brooke. So freedom can be very, very expensive after a while. So we need to leave this kind of mentality, and we are, if we are working for us, not for the sellers. Okay, these are basic some basic indicators and signs whether you live in a method prison or not. So if you are implementing the agile only by book, or you just copy the implementation of one another company and to your in context, or if you see the massive production and industrialization sense of implementation in all your environments, or if people say that this is well-known and proven agile framework, or if you implement the Scrum or another framework, agile framework, like a waterfall framework, like a bulk implementation of it, and if you cannot see anyone who criticize or who have no dare to break the rules, you are in a method prison, right? So here, if there is something, it is exactly some things will fail in these circumstances. So if something fail, they say that, okay, it's your fault. It's not the fault of Scrum, because Scrum, the creators of Scrum say that, okay, Scrum is lightweight, simple to understand. This is our side. But your side is difficult to master. It should be your fault. Okay, per implementation should be because of your fault, because our side is so simple. We can just create a lightweight and easy to understand framework, and your side is difficult to master side. So it's your duty, to arrange everything, to do this kind of things. So if we stay inside this method prison, it's just because of one of the reasons of that is that now we are living three areas together. One is the agriculture area, the other one industrial area, the other one is information system, information technology area. The thing is that, the industrialization area is still influencing our logic in information system area. So here we see some kind of, understanding or approach to people as a machine in the production line. So this is the picture from the industrial era, right? So this is the picture from information system era. So here, this is a kind of scaling framework which is based on Scrum. As you see, most of the things are so much similar, because people here and here are regarded as a machine. So they have to follow some kind of instructions, and every team should finish their increment at the same time. There should be flawless flow of the time. So it is impossible. It is possible for the machine, but it is impossible for human beings, right? So this is main reason behind this logic is that the designers behave or regard all these systems just from the perspective of the process. They forget about the people, they forget about the culture, they forget about the leadership, and it's just, something like that. So we are not inside this, industrial logic. This is very different, because in industrial logic, the thing is that we design for one and we implement it for n times. But here we design for m times and we implement it for n different products. It's totally different logic. So we will be very careful about this trick, right? So here, as a clue, right? So I just want to show you something. So here we see that, right, from the Agile Manifesto, it says that process is a kind of thing which is less valuable than individual interaction. But unfortunately, Scrum is a process framework, which is stated in the Scrum guide. So if we follow the Scrum, if we, lie our agile transformation only the Scrum process, we are just implementing the right hand side of the Agile Manifesto, which is very weak kind of things. So because there should be other aspects of the transformation. So you can watch this talk given by the Ahmet Siki in 2015 or something in Agile Turkey Summit, which is very, very nice talk. And you will realize that process is nothing. It's not enough. Because, processes are just dummy. They are not clever. They are not, they are just proxy of something. So they can, in kind of process version, framework or Scrum cannot react to context variation of the millions on it easily violates the third value. They cannot respond to change, your change. You know your change and you know your context and you should be implementing your own, practices according to your needs and context. So because of this process thinking and understanding behind this Scrum, there are some kind of problems with the sprint as well. So this is just an example. So here in sprint, we will see some kind of push logic, push points here. The first one, this product backlog, even though there are some kind of, prior stages till this time, like let's say we have idea creation, idea validation, idea improvement or whatsoever. We cannot saw that. We cannot see them. They are not visible. We just put all the things inside the backlog. It's just single list. It's a kind of pushment, right? We are pushing the product backlog items into a single backlog. So another point here is that we are using the sprint planning for to identify how much work to push into sprint, right? And inside the sprint, there's only one work in progress limit, which is sprint base, which means if a task, finishes, it will move to the next step as soon as it finishes, right? So there is no controlling mechanism inside the sprint in terms of the demand and control mechanism. So let's say there's a bottleneck somewhere, but if there is if the task before that finishes, it will move to this bottleneck and it will push it, and it will create another pressure on the bottleneck points. So the last one, and I think the most critical one, is that Scrum pushes the teams, to produce shippable product at the end of the sprint. It's a kind of push move, right? Soft push, but it's a kind of push. So another problem with this sprint is that it's a kind of isolation because we don't want to be disturbed by the environment or the customers around us, even though they have some kind of dynamics, and even though the environment is so active and we know to respond to them, but we cannot because we have walls here and we put the customers behind this wall. So we create a kind of blind spot for the customers. Another thing with the sprint logic is that sprints duration can be calculated in terms of the minutes, right? I can calculate this easily. It's a kind of simple math. So it's a kind of determinism. So there are some lines that not deadlines, but lines at the end of the fixed iteration and planning phenomenon is still living in Scrum in a heavy but sharp, not heavy but sharp and rigid way. So another point, another issue with the sprint thinking is that we are just packaging the items, business items, based on the development-oriented perspective, which is artificial word of the development. I just want to say this. There is a, business requirement, and we are just slicing this requirement into this into different sprints, but we are not so much care about the nature of these requirements. We are just focusing on how we can slice these requirements to the sprint length, which is very artificial and development team oriented thing. No, it's not a big business focus slicing of the requirements. So I will show you the solution for that one. So we need to manage the value, but in your daily life, you can just count the words you heard, right? You hear. So let's say how many times you hear the increments in a day, in a usual day. How many times you hear the value? Okay, let's compare. The value is less, right? So the thing is that because we are about to forget the value, the thing about the value is something like that. So by definition, okay, agile is not kind of solution for the value management. It cannot assure the maximizing the value, because you can be agile and you can react correctly to wrong changes, right? Within your environment, if you are agile, you can react to changes, invaluable changes correctly. It is possible, and this is agile, still agile. Also, you can react incorrectly to right changes. Agile does not assure this input and this output. It is more about this one. So what about this? This is that one. It's not about agile. So it's about finding the right and most valuable project or initiative. So it is happening between the product owner and the customer. So most of the Scrum Guide and most of the ratings about Scrum is about this thing, this invaluable project, maybe, or malleable, I don't know. But in Scrum Guide, the majority of the events, as you know, are about planning, daily review, and retrospective starts after determination of what. So we need to deal with the value maximization in different ways, not with agile. So the value, okay, we are trying to manage the value and maximize the value through this role, this simple role, just one person. And on one side, there is a huge world of the customers. And on another side, there's another huge world of the developers. Like in my city right here, Istanbul, this is Asia side and this is Europe side. Always there's a bottleneck here because this is a huge world, another huge world. If you are a single person right here, it means that there's a dependency. There is a, possible of the failure, point of failure. And the majority is low because, if the product owner leaves, your system will collapse. And, it is very fragile at the end of the day. And there is a kind of point for erosion, right? You cannot transform all the value over this person to here. So if you look at, inside the teams, like here, you will see most of the metrics about Scrum are about commitment, items delivered, velocity, meetings conducted, and so on. What about the value of it? So there must be another attempt or another layer to deal with the value. So we are about to, forget about the value in Scrum if we are just following the Scrum, because product owner is not enough to manage all these things, these complex things. So we need to help them. So here at the end, we see a paradise of, paradoxes, right? One of them is that transition to Scrum are generally bulk, like in waterfall, which contradicts the experimental, iterative, incremental development nature of agility. Because our advice are recommended to implement Scrum as a whole. This is a phrase from Scrum Guides. Another one is, as I mentioned before, Scrum is experiencing lines of static iterations and time boxes, which is the determinism, which is again, very, very against agility, right? And Scrum can be reflective somehow, but the results of this reflection is out of the guide. It is called not Scrum. Okay, let's say you found something very nice, but it takes years to publish this nice thing to the other people, other words. It takes years for the decision makers to reflect this change their whole text, right? And inside the development team, okay, we know that they are visible. They are visible and they are developers, right? But at the same time, there are some invisible guests of you, like the authors of the Scrum Guide, who can define 15 minutes time box for you. Exactly 15 minutes. Why it's not 20 minutes? You cannot answer. And as I mentioned just before, Scrum process cannot react to context variation of yours, and including the millions. And literally following the Scrum Guide processes is consistent with the first value of the manifesto, because it's just a process, right? We need to empower these individuals and their interactions. And Scrum teams are encouraged to self-organize, but they also implement their development processes as advised by someone else. It's not self-organizing, right? So there's still hope. So we need to keep our hope. So here, this is I think one of the best, maybe the only way we can implement in our life. This is a kind of way to master, to be a master in our journey, any kind of journey, in metrics, in something else, in to be agile or whatever it is. So the first stage, okay, we know anything. We know nothing about what we need to know, right? We have zero, right? We have zero knowledge about it. So we can just follow someone who we can trust. So let's say we need to do whatever it is in the guide. After that, okay, we learn something and we can just stop something because it's not for us. It's not true for us. It is true for someone else, but it's not true for us. So we can just stop it and we can blend, the bullets or the practices or what is wrong with you. Okay. And you can just mix them, right? And at the end of the day, in the third volume of the movie, you need to be the creator of your own method. So this is a kind of journey. Just, taking this film also took almost, years, and your journey will exactly take some years. You need to be patient. We need to be patient. So here you can create your own method like Spotify. This is the journey. So I will try to give some examples and some pictures from somewhere from here and from here. So the thing is that if we okay to stay within this phase, we are in the wrong way. Okay, it's just a thing. So here, I just want to explain some of the important points. Here, we have two options. We can just stay within the boundaries of someone else. Let's say we want to implement a method, and we want to stay there, right? Within the method prism, right? So the best point we can reach is something inside the mind of other people. Let's say here it's best, at best you can implement something inside other people, right? It's best case. Maybe you are doing something wrong right here, or maybe if you are spending so much money and you are implementing some kind of complex scaling frameworks or whatsoever, this is the best you can reach. But the thing is that we need to shift our minds from this thinking to another one here, because the very name of agile suggests that the method should be easily adjusted to suit the environment. So we need to break whole framework into the pieces, and we will have a library of the practices or principles or values. So maybe we can just choose and we can create some customized one, and we can create our own, we can build our own method, right? So it is very, very normal, and it's supposed to have Scrum Bot versions in your organization. This is very prevalent also. So here, the solution for this picture is that we need to complete the picture from idea, from inside our idea to the, the production. So here we can use end-to-end pull system instead of not end-to-end and partially pull system of Scrum. Here we can have, we can control our ideas as well because we need it. Let's say I can create dozens of the ideas, project ideas or initiative ideas in one day, but I cannot implement it in one day, right? Even your organization cannot implement it in one day. So I need the part I need to control is right here. So the best thing here you can implement for controlling this kind of part is pull system, Kanban or lean pull system. So here there are two main points. One of them end-to-end pull system. The other one is we need to have end-to-end picture, the whole picture of the production. So here the customer is right here, but here customer is absent, right? I cannot see him. So I'm about to forget him, right? The value, the customer. There's no here. There's just a proxy of here, but here there is a real customer and real value here. So because I can get the sense of the customer from here, right? From the end-to-end picture of the journey. So another thing, yeah, the end-to-end and end-to-end pull system. This is very, very important. So here, this is from one of our studies, investigating, the case studies, almost 20 case studies, which combine Scrum and Kanban. So here we realize that in most of the cases, events and roles come from Scrum part. In these hybrid models, we realize that Kanban boards and work in progress are used widely and wisely. And also pull system, continuous flow metrics from Kanban and value chain and service level agreements. I think this is very important because it can create a kind of expectation from the other party of your organization, from other departments, other teams, and you can predict your future, right? Through this implementing this one. So here there are some kind of custom elements the people create in their cases. One of them is calendar-based ceremonies, right? So this is timeline. In sprint, we are creating a proxy of the time here, and we are just dealing with that one. This is clock time, and clock time is different from this sprint time. So here, instead of this sprint time, people are just pointing some time of a point of time, and they just conduct their meetings at this point. Another one is that one. So regardless of the sprint length here, let's say 2 weeks, people are packaging their work items based on the business needs, right? Not based on the development teams, right? So they just group the work, and they just group based on the experiment hypothesis they want to test. And they just say that, okay, I will release these items. So no matter how long it is, okay, I prefer it should be shorter, but it should be based on the nature of the business requirement. So some of the people are using Kanban boards backward and forward. So in Kanban, in original, by default, it's just only one way, right? So WIP limits, mixing number and size. In Kanban, it's just number, but people are some wise people are using size and number together. Lead time and cycle time integrated with 30 points. Ceremonies on demands, and daily meeting is a combination for sprint planning and daily Scrum. And as soon as something finished, they just review. They don't need to wait for the end of the sprint, right? Floating teams is a kind of flexibility. It's a kind of adaptability at the end. It brings some kind of agility, which means that you can, travel across the teams And as you guess, there's some, breaking of the, the rules of the Scrum in terms of the maximum duration of the sprint. So another example, this is very fresh study of ours. And so here we investigated this movie, Lego. Lego is very agile and they are very lean. And I highly recommend you to watch this movie. And here we realize that there are some principles, and which are grouped into two main categories right here. The first one is creativity, which is kind of way to empower the individuals and people, right? The other one is system thinking. So people is not enough, because without system, people are not capable of creating and controlling everything. So we need to support them with system thinking. So they should be together. Just system thinking is a kind of mechanics and industrialization logic. So I just want to highlight customer focus here, right? So I just want to say it's a buzzword, okay, but it was a point, turning point for them, for the bankrupt, of them in their history. So whenever they were about to forget the customer and the value of the customer, they were going to for a bankrupt. So it's very important. So you can just see it, and they were just solving the real problems, not the problem of the particular framework. So we are not just implementing something for the sake of the framework, right? These are real problem, and the framework are just tools. And open development, which is very important, because we are just a few people, but most of the people outside can contribute to our context. Let's say, okay, in their case, they realize that most of the people, and more than 99% of the people, smartest people in the world, don't work for them. Okay, so here we need to open. Scrum should be open to outside, so it should be not very restrict to someone's hand and mind. It should be an open platform. So community developments, like here, like we are doing just now, it's very, very important. And expertise still needed, right? And being intuitive. So here it's very important as well, and being creative, which is, yes, yeah. I think I am running out my time. I will just check it out. Just 10 minutes, right?
Yes.
Okay, just 5 minutes. Okay. And okay, modularity. They succeeded it, right? Everything in the universe is built from something else, some fundamental buildings. Okay, it's very important. And compatibility, even, so integrity. Instruction for how it fits with the rest of the world is embedded inside the system. They don't need any kind of certification, training, or whatever it is. Interchangeability. So these are the things, how they succeed to be a Lego, this success story. So we need to maybe mimic some of them. So here we can see, right, some kind of the organs right here. There is one here, there's another one here. So I just want to ask you, the heart attacks occurs whether the problem with this organ, or just because of the system connecting this one. It's mostly because of the system connecting this one, right? Circulation system, right? So here the problem is not the teams in individual environment. It's just because it is the problem mostly is caused by the connecting system, nervous system or circulation system. So we need to think as a whole body. So still we have brain, strategy, we have muscles and organs. Okay, they are operational level, but we need to have this coordination level, right? It's very, very important. Even though you can be cross-functional, empowered, or any kind of self-organizing teams, but you need to think about the whole system together. So one of the other things we can consider is a kind of swarming about the value. We can just group people around this value, the customer project or whatsoever. And the animals can do that, right? They just go to do, the value, need the value. Otherwise, we need to break all the things to do, product development teams. It's a kind of complex thing. So it's a kind of way to think from the perspective of the customer. So connecting system, something like that. So we can create a layer of connection like here, right? It's a kind of connection. It is more flexible, fluid, intense, and wide and abstract. So we can manage the dependencies, messy dependencies throughout this connection layer, not bringing the people inside the same team. It's not a good way. It's so static, right? So we can mimic the real life here. So, okay, we know this picture from Ahmet Sidki, but here I am agile. So I just want to plan to raise my hands. So I implement it in 3 seconds. I am agile, you are agile. All the living creatures are agile. So we can just mimic that. So what we are doing in the real life is that. Okay. So in my usual life, in a bazaar in Istanbul, I cannot proceed by segmented way, iterations. So I need to have an approach of continuous behaving, continuous acting, like continuous delivery, continuous planning, continuous integration, continuous whatsoever, because we do it 30 times in a usual day. So I need to do that, not just one time in 2 weeks. It is very bad level of agility. In real life, it is something like that. But in Scrum, we need to, we need to planning just 2 times, 1 times in a week or whatever it is. Okay, Jeff Sutherland says that, okay, I don't know any better ways to do software than Scrum, but there is, we know at least one. So I don't want to criticize Scrum or classify it as a good or bad. I just want to support the agility. And there is right here, there are 2 ways, right? One way is keeping the religious and cut life aspects in Scrum and adding more cases to more than 50% of the Scrum implementation failures, or we can just freedom the people and system thinking together. So it is recommended to blend the methods according to needs instead of adhering to methods for the sake of the method. So we can use these ends, even though the sellers don't like it. I will hope that this talk supports you in thinking out of the scope and getting you encourage you to have more freedom in this agile journey. Okay, this is my end of the talk, and if you want to read more about this talk, you can have these papers here, and these are the references I used in my presentation. Okay, I'm a little bit late, 5 minutes for the questions.
Totally fine. Thank you so much. We do have a question in Wova. I don't know when specifically it was in your talk question appeared, but what should the team do if they've been following zombie Kanban? What advice would you give them to get out of the cycle?
Okay, they should, investigate, best or, the other cases, and they should aware of them. They are zombie scrummers, right? They should be, brave enough to break the rules. It's not an easy thing, because as a person, as I want to do that by organization, let's say doesn't want to encourage me to do this, right? So in this case, maybe I can start in a small context and I just make it bigger and bigger. And after people see it, and they will follow you. I think we can look at the best or the successful case in the history. Let's say, okay, we want to change the system of the country, right? In the history, we can see some good examples. Maybe we can read them. It's a kind of mental change, right? So maybe we can investigate how the mental change happens. So in my thesis, I am searching for how to develop the agile mindset, how to change the agile mindset, and how to measure it, right? In different stages of the people. So it's a kind of long journey. It's not easy, but at least I think the first stage is to recognize that, okay, I'm in the prison. I need to, escape. It's a good starting point.
Thank you. And maybe you even have some examples or stories how a team like Kanban team or Scrum team was able to go from the zombie Kanban zombie Scrum and became more agile based on what you expressed?
From my experience?
Or someone like your peer experiences?
Okay, so I really recommend to follow someone, Ellen Hope, I guess, and Ahmet Sidki, and you may be thinking about reading some kind of books about system thinking. I think Flow is a good one, and AIM is another book you can read. Also, we need to understand first, the complexity of the word, and after that, maybe we need to deal with some acknowledge people about this one. I mean, knowledgeable people about this one. So maybe we can get some kind of guidance at the first glance, and then we can create our own journey. So it's a kind of thing, it's a kind of thing. We need to discuss more and more. So the time is very limited. So I'm just trying to give some basic information about basic expression about it.